Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. And I am JT.
Hey guys, I'm Joey.
And today we are discussing how to make workouts more effective. Plenty of people out there busting their chops, working hard, getting it in, but not necessarily getting the results they want. And today we are going to address the key things that you need to make sure you do to get the bang for your buck.
Do you reckon we could tell people about, just briefly, to give a bit of weight to this conversation, about how many times we've visited other gyms and we've looked at people training at the outdoor parks and just doing shit, and you're like, man, if you just did a couple of things, like,
Well,
yeah, or even like, okay,
yes,
all of this effort you're putting in would be like,
way more effective.
yeah, like you'd be getting so much more out of it. But instead, you're just grinding it away year after year and nothing's changing.
Yes. And I think this is something we need to be aware of. And, you know, when I actually ask people, just speaking to that very quickly, I know we're going to dig into this, do you write it down? Do you have a program? Like, do you know how you are improving? 90% of people do not have a journal, or they have no way to kind of keep account of their progress.
Or even a program, right? Like even a pathway.
No.
It's just, I go and I just do some exercises. I kind of pick some off the top of my head.
And look, that's not to detract from the fact that, you know, people are out there trying, right? I'm out there at the park and I'm seeing.
But sometimes trying is just not enough.
Look, I'm the first one to want to punch someone in the throat for doing some kind of gym fuckery. But the thing is, like, credit to a human for making the effort to get out the park and do something. But for you, our people, we want you to get the most out of it. So I think speaking about what you're talking here, Joe, is 90% of people are without a plan. They are also not using effective exercises. And if they are picking exercises which are good, they're not executing them well. So let's talk about how people can change this so that they make the most out of their effort.
All right.
First cab off the rank.
First one for me is to follow a program.
Yes.
So have a process that you're following. Now, the beauty of a program is that it gives you guidance. So what you're going to do over the next 60 minutes here in the gym, but it also gives you enough consistency, hopefully, if it's a half decent program, that you can get some good results from this training process, right? Obviously, we're big fans of the Bulletproof program, but even if you're following something else, just follow it. Don't jump around between things. And it's exactly the same as like going and asking your coach, hey, where am I going wrong? Like, what's the best sweep for me to use from this guard that I love? And they say, use this sweep. And then the next day you go and ask another coach, you're like, hey, what do you think I should do? And then they give you different information. Right. And right? Like, it's like, no, you don't need more information. You just need one set of information and follow that.
Stick to it. The second sort of part of that point is that consistency really is the thing, isn't it? Yes.
So, it's nice to go in and do different things in the gym. And yes, there is an element of shocking the body, which we do want to change things up periodically, but that doesn't mean every day or every week.
No. And look, a great saying that I heard many years ago, which was a poor program done well is better than a great program executed poorly.
100%.
You know, you can have like all the best exercises and the periodization and everything, but if you're not actually sticking to it and you're not actually executing it the way it's been made, then what's the point of the blueprint? You're just freestyling. You're just throwing up a shack. But if you've got somebody who's maybe got a very unscientific program, but they really adhere to it and they're very consistent and they chip away, these people are more likely to get the result. So let's separate those two things. One, which is the plan, and this is we've spoken about this before, Joe, because everybody gets very inspired, like, new workout challenge, new workout. Yeah, workouts,
like on Instagram and shit.
That's classic thing. Like,
I'm going to try and do 100 push-ups.
Yeah,
like that kind of shit.
Just because, don't worry about the fact that you've got bursitis in your shoulders, or just push-ups, bro.
But it's like, once I'm there, I will be Jason Statham. Like, if I can do 100 push-ups, I'm The Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you got that receding hairline, you too can be Jason Statham.
You just got sore pecs.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a big difference. This is where we got to delineate between a workout, because people go, oh yeah, but I'm just doing this workout. Why? Like what? How does that relate back to you and what you need, right? That's where the idea of a program is most important, because it's structured over time. And this is also the difference between testing and training. Training is moving you towards an end goal. Testing is just telling you wherever you're at that day. And I'm going to tell you right now, wherever you're at today is not where you're trying to be. It's not as mobile as you want to be. It's not as strong as you want to be. Therefore, there is a specific way to attain that, and that's where a program guides you. And that's what we need. It shouldn't just be based on, oh, how do I feel today? Because how you feel today might be like doing nothing.
Yeah, you're not responsible to make that decision for
No,
yourself.
you're definitely not. And I think the next thing on this I wanted to say, before we even get to the workout piece, people are not really warming up or prepping their bodies before they work out. They're just not. This is my, I would add this in, that I see people, you know, doing the classic kind of Merv Hughes, or like the just tip the head. Yeah, a bit of hip circles.
They usually do that.
Grab the foot.
They usually do that. Yeah, the grab the foot, stretch behind
Yeah.
one. They usually do that one when they're like kind of scoping everyone else at the gym out.
Sussing.
Yeah, like a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I should be here. Like, you know, that one, like,
Yeah, the
just
fully-
stretch it. Yeah.
And then the thing about this is like...
You should fucking be there. It's your gym. It's your place.
Own it.
Be there. Yeah,
100%.
don't go in meekly. Go in with an intention and a fucking goal for the day.
Yeah, I'm here to get better. I'm here to get stronger. This is for me. You don't worry what other people are doing. And the truth is, having lived in gyms my whole life, people get very self-conscious. There's a lot of anxiety around the gym. They're like, oh, but people are looking at me. People are going to judge me. It's like, look, society judges people. You know, everyone judges everyone. But in truth, when you're in the gym, people just focus on themselves. You know, the people who are the most narcissistic or vain, they're not standing there looking at you like, oh, you're crap. They're looking in the mirror going, oh, I'm great. You know, so essentially, if you have anxiety around people looking at you, it's not going to happen at the gym. People are looking at themselves, so don't worry about that. And if you're not at the gym, if you're at home and you're trying to get the most out of workouts, because you're at home and it's not a formal place of training, that's fine. You still need a warm-up. It's still important for you to prep your body, because now more than ever, we're sitting down, we're doing less, and our bodies are not ready. And I was actually just saying this to Dylan earlier today in passing. You know, he is warm. He does like almost like an hour's worth of activity before he's doing the Zoom class. And then, you know, he's doing, you know.
He's teaching the online classes.
He's teaching
right
the
now.
online classes here at Young Brothers. And I say, yeah, man, the first thing I do, I get up in the morning and drink my water, I do my mobility. You know, I might roll out my tight spots. Like, I've done half an hour of prep before I leave the house, before I come and do anything. And this is something people are not in the habit of. And basically what this means is their first couple sets are shitty. And that's a waste.
Yep.
You've wasted possibly a third to, you know, 25% of what could be giving you benefit just adjusting to these movements. Where if you actually spent 10 to 15 minutes warming up properly, you're getting max benefit out of those lifts. You're getting the best recruitment. You're not just adjusting to what the thing is. That's what I'd say.
Agreed.
Now, the other thing I want to say about this, guys, is something I do myself when I'm warming up, is not only just increasing my body temperature, so I'm not doing star jumps, I'm not running around, I'm doing my prep, I'm also getting my nervous system excited. So what I mean by that is, if I'm doing deadlifts, I will do single leg deadlifts, light, and also kettlebell swings. Why? Because these are more demanding than the actual exercise. Even though I'm not lifting heavy, with the kettlebell swing, I'm being explosive and trying to get my nervous system fired up. And then by doing the single leg deadlift, I'm taxing my ankle and my hamstring and my back way more than a normal deadlift would. So when I come to do the normal, you know, two-legged deadlift off the ground, it's easier in a way. It's
a simpler movement.
It's a simpler movement, even though I'm going to load it up more. And that keeps me safe. In the same way, when I'm going to squat heavy, I'm going to do some jumps, some squat jumps, and I'm also going to do some hopping. The hop and stabilize. I find the hop and stabilize is actually a huge win. It seems really simple, but if you do like 10 hop and stabilize on each leg, that does so much for your ankles and your knees and your hips. So when you do finally either rack the kettlebells or put the bar on your back, your body is very much ready to go. So that is a piece that I would add. Once you've warmed your body and you're prepared, get your nervous system G'd up from the feet up.
Yeah, a bit of activation work.
Yes.
And I think if folks are like, oh, what can I do there? Like one of the things that stands out, the exercise choice that JT is using is really something that just demands a little bit more like brain power and a bit more coordination. And that is in effect what excites the nervous system, because you got to think about it. You got to become very present, and your body has to work hard to stabilize, right?
Yes.
So that's the beauty of it. Then you go to your exercise, which is a deadlift or a squat. It's more simple, so you don't have to use the brain power, but now you can start to load that sucker up.
Yes, sir.
I tell you, okay, so, talking about like how people can make workouts more efficient, something that I notice, and I even noticed this for myself, and I'm happy to be talking about it today because it will bring me back to it, but that is using a timer.
Yes.
To time my workout and to time my rest periods.
Yep.
Now, depending on the day, I don't always have to time my workout. I train for 60 to 90 minutes. It's there in the count, in my schedule. It's good. I know that I can just manage that time and get what I need to do done. However, on the days where I'm more stretched for time, and this is what we've been doing, particularly with the new Bulletproof standards,
Yes.
is I will time each superset, which is each block of work, usually 2 exercises, into a 15-minute window.
Yes.
So I'll set a timer for 15 minutes counting down, and then I know that I've got that 15-minute period to get whatever 3 to 4 to 5 sets, depending on the prescription of those 2 exercises. Now, the beauty of that is that I know that in 45 minutes I can get my workout done.
Yep.
Or an hour if I want to add some mobility in there, or some extra mobility. And I also know that for some exercises I'm going to get a bit more rest, some I'm going to get a bit less.
Yep.
The other approach, if you don't like blocking out time like that, is just to measure your rest periods. And for majority of what we do, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but unless we're training like super heavy, where you want like those long sort of 3 to 5 minute rest periods.
Sure.
It's generally around 90 seconds, 60 seconds to 120 seconds, like 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would say 60 to 90 seconds, definitely. And look, if you're I would go so far as to say, if you have to rest anything more than 90 seconds, one, either, you're possibly going too hard, or that said, you're possibly being a little bit lazy. And that's practice. Don't get me wrong. I like a good long rest break, but really don't shy away from the discomfort, guys. I've been trying to say this to all my people on Zoom. You've shown up. You've warmed up. You're there. You've brought your drink bottle. You've done everything you need to do. Now it's work time. So that 30 seconds, you're delaying the inevitable, really. You're like, if it means your next set isn't as comfortable, that's okay. Because this level of accountability, guys, is that, your energy is only going to restore so much in the given time, and based off how conditioned you are, it'll restore better or it won't. But that doesn't mean that you should shy away from that work. So yeah, setting your rest break and keeping your rest break at a certain time, whether it's 60 seconds or 90 seconds, is key to doing the workout properly.
Yeah, and just on that, I like to use this.
Classic.
I got a little Gym Boss timer.
Gym Boss, I love them.
They're so good. You can get them online. We don't have any affiliation with them yet, but they're really good. They look like a pager. They got a little clip. They go into your clothes.
Ooh, anyone remember that?
Got that 90s vibe
Back in the day.
But the beauty of them is that they don't have apps. They don't have text messages.
So simple.
They don't have all the shit that you have on your phone. And when you're looking at your phone and using the timer there, and then you get a notification, and it's easy to get distracted.
And
exactly. And I do it myself. So going back to something like this simplifies it. And I just use the countdown timer feature. I just go, all right, 90 seconds. And then I finish my set and I click it, and then it beeps and I'm like, start again.
Yep.
Real simple.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think the timer is great. And also what you do between sets, breathing is really important. So if you know that you've only got so much time and you need to bounce back really quickly, this might be something you can elaborate on, Joe, because I don't know much behind it relevant to like shaking or whatever. But my coach, my old Russian coach, Efim, he would make me walk around and like shake he wouldn't let me stand still on my rest breaks.
Wow.
He's like, you got to keep moving. He's like, deep breaths. He's like, you got to get that oxygen in, big nasal breaths, like in through the nose, out through the mouth. And he would make me shake my arms and shake my legs. And he anyway, he didn't explain the science behind it, but he's like, basically, you have to make sure you're keeping your blood circulating. If you just squat down and just stay in spot, he's like, actually, your circulation gets worse. And he's like, stay moving. You don't feel like it, but he's like, your next set will be better if you've got more oxygen in your blood. So he would always push me to do that. And truth is, it did take a little bit more effort to kind of wander around and move my body, but the next set did come out better.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to lymphatic drainage as well with that, isn't there?
The shaking.
Yeah, your body just getting rid of the waste byproducts that are accumulating, from the training, and that's that if you can get that stuff moving around, then it's going to allow you to perform a bit better on your next set.
Definitely.
And I think it is also a good habit. I mean, think about relevant to jiu-jitsu. If you're competing or even if you're just rolling hard, you never really have the opportunity to stop. However long the round is, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, you got to keep going.
Yes.
Even when there's little breaks. So I think it helps to build a bit of discipline around that.
Definitely. And around that idea of timed windows, guys, I think it's really good because I have people all the time saying to me, oh, what can I do for fitness? Yeah, we've talked about this many times, guys, but what I'd say is what will surprise you, if you are used to taking longer rest breaks, shorten them up. Like Joe's talking about a 15-minute window, and this is relevant to the new standards program. But even if you were to take the exercises that you're doing currently and you go, right, I've got 10 minutes, that means I've got 2 minutes per, say, superset. So as long as it takes you to get those 2 exercises done, whatever you've got left within the 2 minutes is your rest time. If you take longer, you got less rest.
Yeah.
If you go a bit harder, you might need more rest, but it is structured. You're going to get 5 sets and you're going to do it in 10 minutes. And that last set's going to be way tougher than the first.
Yeah.
And that is going to drive your freaking heart rate up, guys. So look, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of things that we can go into around conditioning. We're not doing that today. But if you want to make your workouts more bang for buck, shorten the time up and get it done.
Yep.
All right, next thing's next, guys. I'm going to say ramping up. So a lot of people will go straight into, I see it all the time. People, they might do a few of those kind of, ineffective kind of shoulder stretches, whatever, not even stretch, just move their body. And then they're like, right, let's load up the bar. Let's just chuck the weight on. I usually do whatever, 100, chuck 100 on there, do 100.
Talk about someone deadlifting or whatever.
Yeah, or, whatever it might be, whatever the structure is, people just don't allocate enough time to their workout and they don't factor in any kind of a ramp up. So I will always treat my first set as a gauge on the subsequent set. So if I know I'm doing, I'm a little bit different to you guys. If you only work with 3 to 5 sets, sometimes in my workouts, I have 8 sets. There's less repetitions, but there's 8 sets. My first 3 are ramp up. They are building me up to the weight that I'm working with that day. And it's like a little check-in with myself. It's also a little G up, like get ready, come on body, next set, okay, now. And it's really important for me psychologically to prepare for a very heavy weight or just a really hard thing that I don't necessarily enjoy, whatever it might be. Like maybe it's a certain mobility drill or something which really kills me. I have to really zone my mind in and building into it and having that ramp up is an important part, not just going straight to the heaviest weight and doing that.
Yeah, when I tell people that when I'm training folks, I have heard a lot from people over the time. It's like, say we're going to be doing 4 sets of deadlifts, just to pick a scenario. And I say, all right, well, let's get a good kind of handful of warm-up sets done. And let's make those warm-up sets sort of ramp us up towards the first working set.
Progress the weight.
And sometimes you'll get people that be like, yeah, but isn't this going to make me tired? And I want to do 4 sets. You're like, no, man. Well, one, if that is going to make you tired, then you probably shouldn't have come to train today. You should just be asleep.
Yeah, sure.
But no, that's actually going to help to prepare your nervous system better so that you will be able to perform better right now.
Yes, indeed.
So that ramping up, that gradual thing is really important. And look, the simple rule that I use is the stronger you are and the more you're lifting, the more of that you have to do.
Yeah.
Like as an example, if you're going to go deadlift whatever, if your working sets are at like 150 kilos,
Sure.
well, your first warm-up's going to be with the empty bar.
Yeah.
Then maybe you're going to do, I don't know, 50 kilos, then 70, then 90.
Yeah.
You got to take that time, right? Because things are getting more intense. It's getting more serious. Whereas when you're a bit fresher to it, if your working sets are only going to be 60 kilos, then maybe it is just 3 warm-up sets.
Sure.
But the ramp-up idea is still there.
Yeah, definitely. And the more advanced you get, you do need a little bit more prep, and it's also skill practice. And I think this is something that we can't forget, guys. And this is something that we have incorporated into our programming, whether it's the current program for kettlebells or our home gym or anything. We are hitting you with some movements that aren't in normal training. It does require more skill. So even when you do it with not much load, you're practicing the skill. Therefore, you are getting better skill mastery. And that is an inbuilt part of the way we program for Bulletproof for BJJ. So I always have that okay, accuse me for being a cliche trainer, but when my client goes, how many reps? I'm probably not counting. I'm just looking at their form like, okay, that was okay. No, that's a terrible rep. That's okay. So in my head, I'm like, nah, they've only hit 5 good reps out of 10.
Look, I've done 17.
Yeah, and I'm like, do 2 more. It's always 2 more because, okay, whatever your goal, you want to get stronger, you want to lose weight or whatever you're doing, will 2 more reps be a problem? You're here to do the work. So in the name of improving, and I'm not talking about doing endless reps, it is worthwhile doing some lighter reps just to groove those movements.
Yeah. Now, I got a point on this subject. I generally would like to see people train slower rather than faster. Now, of course, anyone out there listening who has any kind of understanding of athletics or strength and conditioning will be thinking, yeah, but don't I become more powerful when I train faster? And yes, that is true. If you want to be fast and powerful, you need to train fast, right? However, for the majority of people listening, for the majority of people we coach, for the majority of jiu-jitsu players, it is not power that they lack.
Yeah.
It is strength and coordination and mobility.
Agreed.
And these things form the base of the pyramid to which power is then layered on top of.
Agreed.
So if you don't have good quality strength, coordination and mobility, you're never going to be powerful anyway, right?
No.
You're just going to be moving with bad technique and probably going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So the big, and look, this is me as well. Like, in my training, I still train very slow a lot of the time. I might do a couple of faster exercises, maybe in the warm up or maybe at the end. But in essence, when I'm doing my strength training, I'm moving slow because I want tension the whole way.
Yep.
I want to load the body. I want tension as I go into the movement and then as I pull out. And I'm trying to work with that tension. That tension is what allows my connective tissue to become stronger. It's what helps your muscles become bigger and become stronger. And it's also what gives your brain a chance to process what's going on.
Proprioceptive feel.
Right.
Understanding of the movement. Yeah.
Exactly. So if it's a choice, go slower. You will get more from it. And then obviously for the more advanced lifters out there, yeah, sure, add some power stuff, add some speed stuff, but you've done the work to be allowed to do that.
Definitely. And I would actually go further to say that only really those who are truly strong do slow eccentrics and do paused repetitions and stuff like this. Why? It's so hard. Like, guys, if you've never done it, I'll just put it out to you right now. Let's say you can do 5 pull-ups, 5 chin-ups, whatever it might be. All right, let's say that let's do a 5-second eccentric. So what that means, guys, is you do your pull-up or your chin-up, you hold at the top, and you take 5 seconds to come down to a point of full extension. How many of those can you get? Because your time under tension, which is like what Joe's talking about, has dramatically increased. You actually don't need to do as many reps, and it is significantly harder. So developing that control is actually a really good safeguard to stop you from kind of progressing too soon. Like, people love plyometrics because, they look sick and I'm doing a box jump. And
you got the guys on Instagram doing the plyometric thing, and then the guy punches them in the abs, and then the thing, and then abs, and then the backflip, and then the punching.
But Masvidal does flying knees, bro. It's like, yeah, sure. I mean, that's all good. But like I'm totally agree with Joe that what you guys should know is there is a hierarchy of movements, and strength is a skill and a coordination. If you can't do it slow, you do not have permission to now go do it fast. That's what I would say.
Spot on.
And here's the other thing I would say, guys, and this is relevant. We had a question about this relevant to intensity before. I mean, everybody's different. I'm a bit more on the side of Ultimate Warrior. Intensity is my passion. Passion is my passion. I like to get G'd up. I consume lots of caffeine, and maybe it's because I have a fairly boring lifestyle, but I get excited when I could potentially break my back lifting a weight. Obviously, I never really lift anything I can't pick up. You know, I don't put weight on me that I know that I can't tolerate, but it's the mental thing about getting really kind of psyched to a point of like, this is it, let's go. I can't do jiu-jitsu right now. So, but I'm talking about relevant to you guys getting stronger or the effort you're putting in, really getting yourself mentally prepared to put in your best effort, whether that is doing the reps slower with greater control and greater focus, or lifting harder or moving faster, whatever the requirement of the exercise is, to do it with the best quality. Because like I was saying before, sometimes I watch my clients, I'm giving feedback going, nope, like no rep. Like just do 5 good ones. Don't give me 10 crappy ones.
Yeah.
Just do 5 good ones, breathe, focus, and make it count. This makes a huge difference to the effectiveness of the workout.
Yeah, I think that's often the mindset between I'm trying to just get through this. I'm just bashing out these reps so I can get it done and call it a day, versus I'm going to do my best at this right now. And I think it's really important. It's the same as how you drill in jiu-jitsu. You know, it's like bring awareness to it, bring some intention, and like, I'm going to try my, because when you bring that awareness and that intention to your training, you get more from it. And you are that person that is constantly getting results and making gains. And that is, you know, really fucking satisfying. And that's why we're all here. Whereas when you're the person that's just trying to get it done so you can tick the box and go, yeah, I exercised today, you're the person that's at the gym year after year and nothing changes.
That's right. And it's a degree of self-awareness and honesty. Like if I don't hit a rep, I will write, I missed it. You know, even if
in a red texter,
bad, wrong. No, it's one of those, because I don't really work out with people. Like I usually work out by myself anyway, and that's fine. I have myself for accountability. But if I don't make a rep, I write that, because the next time when I come back, if I get it, then that shows improvement. And it's that level of honesty to know if you are actually getting better, guys. And if you're not really keeping yourself to account, it is worthwhile getting a coach or getting somebody who can help you with that if you struggle with that.
Yeah. I'm going to say one of the big things where I see people fall off and lose effectiveness in their training is not tracking their workouts. So you've done all the things, you've got the program, you're following a good thing, you're timing your rest periods, doing all that, but you come in and it's like, oh, yep, today I'm doing my 4 sets of Turkish get-ups, and you ask yourself or your trainer, oh, what did I lift last week? And it's like, man, if you have no, like, who fucking remembers that shit, right? You're doing a lot of exercise. No. As a trainer, I don't remember what you lifted last week. The chances then of you progressing, because there is this basic concept in strength training, progressive overload.
Yes, sir.
Which requires that you progressively overload the body by doing progressively more. And that could be in weight or in volume or in total work.
Yeah, like more reps of the same thing.
Right, or a heavier kettlebell or a heavier barbell. But the important thing is that it's there. And if you're not doing that, then you're really just in a maintenance sort of phase. So simply writing this shit down, having a diary, having a piece of paper, you can even put it in your phone. I'm not a huge fan of it, but you can totally put it in your phone. Just tracking it. So you get to your workout and you're like, oh, well, last week I did 14 kilos for the first 3 sets and then I did 16 for the last 2. Oh, I'm going to try and do 16 for all my sets today.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just these small incremental gains that cumulatively equal much progress in the gym.
That's right. And even though you might go, oh, that's not me, I don't do that. Well, I'm going to say that you are then
you do that.
Yeah, that's not you're not a successful person. It's actually, it's funny.
We only hang out with successful people.
Well, I think it's one of those things. No, we are hanging out with you right now, and you might not be very successful, but by hanging out with us, you will get more successful. No, I think it was funny. So my partner was, she's studying right now, and they had a Zoom chat, and you know, I've worked with she's my fiance. I should say fiance, but I don't know why it's hard for me to say that. My brain's not computing. We have worked on her diary keeping and journaling, but she doesn't keep it every day. But she does write stuff down every day. You know, she has her own process. She writes her workouts down. It's really good. I'm proud of how she's cultivated that. They're talking in this group chat, and there's one guy on there. They're all studying marketing, and he has come from a trade background. I don't know what he does, whatever. He's not an old guy. He's like in his 20s. And they were like, he always forgets something. And sometimes I overhear what they're saying. And he's like, no, I don't write stuff down. Nah. And like, it's majority group of women. It's like probably a class of 30 women and maybe 2 guys. It's like, no, it's not what I do. Like, write stuff down. And I just looked at her and she looked at me and we were both like, oh, this is someone who's going to really struggle. Because if we look at anyone, however you do it, guys, your ability to reflect on your activities is what helps you learn. If you can't reflect or if you have no point of reference, you cannot improve. If you just leave it to emotion and memory, it's so easy to just lose it because there's so many other things at the top of your mind. So when it comes to these workouts, I'm totally in agreement with you, Joe. If you guys want to be more effective and more successful, you must write it down.
On that, we got a video on our YouTube channel, which is Journaling for Success, where I believe, JT, you detail how somebody can just write down on what their workout is and track it in their diary, right?
Yeah, definitely. I actually just go through when I'm doing Bulletproof workouts, exactly how I write it down. It's very simple. You can choose to do it that way. You don't have to, but it is a very easy video to be able to do it if you want a model to copy.
Now, are we at question time yet?
Mate, we have questions. Yes, we've had a few come in this week.
We got 2 questions. We got 2 questions from the people. Let me go to Mr. Greg Brown.
Gregory Brown.
Hey JT, hey Joey. My question for you guys is just concerning around how to use the Bulletproof for BJJ workouts in conjunction with adding rehab exercises to them. I've been dealing with shoulder issues for quite some time, and I feel I can't really do much in terms of getting a proper workout in because I'm stuck doing banded rehab exercises to improve my shoulder stability. And just wanting to know what would be the best way to use the Bulletproof workouts and in conjunction with the rehab, whether I need to try and meld the two, and what would be the best way to do that to make it feel like I'm getting the benefits of rehabilitating and getting stronger there to progress to the harder exercises such as a shoulder press without worrying of issues of hurting my shoulder again, and make it still feel like I'm actually doing some work and getting a workout in to get stronger in other areas. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Greg Brown, thank you, my man.
My guy, I think this is a good friend of mine, Gregory Brown, who I know. If it's not, I don't want to overassume, but Greg Brown, who's a good friend of mine, had shoulder issues. And we've had a few questions around this before, haven't we?
Yeah, we've spoken about it a bit. And again, we have a video exactly on how to do this on our YouTube channel. But essentially what you want to do in this situation is you want to take any of the offending movement patterns and you want to take them out of your training, out of the program, and you want to put your rehab work in its place.
Yeah, swap it out.
So generally speaking, and Greg alluded to this, pressing is tricky for him.
Yep.
Majority of the time, or oftentimes when people have a shoulder issue, pressing or pushing in any pattern does become challenging, but pulling is often okay.
Yes.
And it might not be like vertical pulling, like chin-ups and pull-ups, but perhaps like bent over rows,
horizontal
or
pulling,
ring rows, that kind of thing, right? Like they feel fine. So what the session would look like then, if you look at the Bulletproof program, you'll see that workout 1 and workout 2 are split between a squat and a pull, and then a push and a hinge.
Yep.
So what that means is that the squat and pull are most likely going to be fine for Greg, nothing to change there.
Yep.
I would definitely add in some rehab work in the warm-up and perhaps in the rest periods.
Yes.
And then for the press and hinge day, that is where the rehab work is going to take more of a bigger position. He's going to take the pressing work out of the program completely. So he's left with his hinge work, which is the deadlifting and the jumping varieties and that kind of thing. And he's going to put a shitload of rehab in there.
Yep.
And he's going to run with that until he's out of pain. And then once his physio says, hey, you're good to go back to whatever, then he can start to revisit some of the pressing stuff and get back into it at full intensity.
Yes, indeed. And I believe that we did have this question relevant to legs the other day. Someone saying they had a knee injury, but their upper body was fine. Exactly the same deal, guys. Whichever it is that you cannot do, substitute the rehab work in, but do your best to be able to complete the rest of the program in the way it is laid out. And sure enough, once you've overcome that initial period of struggle, you will be able to start to get back to full workouts.
Love it. Next question comes from White Belt for Life.
Hi guys, just wanted to say I really love the content. My question for you is the way that one should train in terms of intensity. So 1 being slack and 5 being high powered. What sort of intensity should one train whilst doing your program? Thank you.
White Belt for Life, thank you for your question.
First came off the rank. That background tunes, man.
I didn't know he lives with Alicia Keys. Dad, I'm just jamming out while you talk to your jiu-jitsu friends.
That was so good. I was head nodding to those tunes. White Belt for Life. Thank you. Great question.
We actually kind of touched on this in the episode, didn't we?
We did. And I would go so far as to go, the idea of the warm-up and the ramp-up, bringing your best intensity and quality for when you go to work.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the one thing we got to understand is that there is, for most people, a relationship between intensity and technical execution. So as your intensity goes up, your technique goes down. And I say that for most people because most people aren't advanced when it comes to strength training. So for a lot of people, and you can see this at any CrossFit gym, right? As soon as the intensity goes up and people start chasing the hardest possible effort,
they're murdering
the
their
form
technique.
looks like shit.
Yeah.
So for the majority of people listening to this, and White Belt for Life, I mean, your name says it all. For you, at the early stages of this thing, you want to keep the intensity towards the lower side. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be ramping it up. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be getting after it when you're feeling it's the right thing. But your main priority should be doing the movements correctly.
Yeah, and often that's harder. Often when you say to someone, no, tuck your hips, bring your rib towards your hip, keep your midline tight.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's harder. Yes.
You're fucking thinking now.
Yeah, because you that is the work. Same thing like when we do our push-up, like a protracted push-up, really stretching those shoulders at the top and staying tight as you come on the way down. Keeping it like all these things. Actually, if you want to make the workout more intense, do the technique well. It may not be as satisfying as just going absolutely ballistic, but that is where you need to bring your energy and your focus in terms of intensity.
Yeah, and actually a really interesting thing that makes me think of, when you focus on doing the movement really well, the movement becomes really intense.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like you're like, fuck, that push-up was so hard because I was like really trying my hardest to do all the things that you guys are telling me to do. It's like, all right, well now we're ticking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're like, I'm going to fucking kill these push-ups, then you tend to go too fast, you tend to break form. There's a whole cascade of things that go wrong. Guys, if you have questions, send them to us. You can record a voicemail for us. We'll feature it on the show. Go to the website, bulletproofforbjj.com, and then click podcast, and you'll see a little box down the bottom of the page there.
Perfect.
Is that us?
That is us.
Guys, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.